What's going on, guys? I'm back with my last Rocky episode for now, and today we're going to be talking about Creed 3. With the passing of the torch from Rocky to Creed, Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut was an excellent way to fill Stallone's shoes. While it wasn't an absolute groundbreaking blockbuster, it was still a pretty solid film with great shot selections. I was actually really surprised to see Jordan behind the camera, but he truly delivered, like Stallone did when he started directing. Jordan was privy to working with some of the best directors of his time, including Ryan Coogler and even Stallone himself, who taught him valuable lessons that he incorporated into his own style. The film's cinematography and editing were top-notch as well, making it the best looking of the franchise, perhaps just outside of the first Creed film by Coogler. One of the more impressive aspects of the film is Jordan's creative shot selections. For example, the shot where the wall splits Jordan and Major effectively conveys both their characters and the mood and emotions of the scene. It also represents the difference they represent in showing that, although they are friends, there's still certainly differences between them. The boxing sequences also featured a clever and stylish style with fast camera motions and close-up takes that added dramatic elements to the tone of the film. When it comes to the story, most importantly, I feel that this film shows that these films can survive on their own without Rocky. Creed is an intriguing character with several layers, but if we are being honest, Rocky's absence was certainly missed. It's almost as if they were testing the waters by omitting Rocky altogether. Outside of a single dialogue exchange, they don't even mention or show him, whether it's by a picture or even a flashback. While I do think the film could have benefited by showing him at least once or twice, I must acknowledge that the creator's desire to create a distinct franchise, which I appreciate. The film opens up in a unique manner, setting it apart from the typical Rocky films. It delves into Donnie's childhood and effectively uses the first act as exposition for the unfolding plot. The first act brilliantly establishes the tone, ensuring that nothing feels wasted or tacked on. It beautifully sets the stage for Donnie's upbringing, his current stage in his boxing career, and his role as a family support system. In my opinion, the film stands as one of the more tighter and cohesive stories in the franchise. From the very beginning to the end, all elements intertwine, creating a well-crafted narrative. As mentioned earlier, this film can stand on its own merits, but it still does draw inspiration from previous installments, particularly Rocky V. Creed's mentorship of Damien's raw skills and his desire to prove himself quickly, similar to Adonis in the Creed film, as well as the side plot of Adonis and his child's relationship are all reoccurring themes. While there are similarities between Rocky V and this film, the dynamics of the relationship between Rocky and Tommy, Rocky and Adonis, and Donnie and Damien are all distinct. Rocky didn't know Tommy through a can of paint, yet he invested heavily in him. In contrast, Donnie grew up with Damien, so he already had a deep friendship and partnership with him. Another aspect of the story that I appreciated was the continuity that continues from the earlier Creed films. Apart from Rocky 1 and 2, all the other Rocky films feel like their own standalone movies that subtly reference previous ones. Within the Creed franchise, they retain the characters like Ricky Conlan and Drago Jr., or Victor Drago, whatever you call him. I call him Drago Jr. In Creed 3, the creative team did an excellent job of highlighting our main duo in Adonis and Damien, as well as Bianca. As I mentioned earlier, I truly appreciated the new layers given to Creed's character, showcasing his life after boxing and taking on a role similar to Don King, if you will, but with a strong family man's heart. Adonis' love for boxing is evident, but it's clear that he fights for his family now, not just for the passion of the game. The steps taken to portray Donnie as a girl dad resonate deeply, even though it may not have been extensively explored as Rocky and his son in Rocky V. However, it was still a well-recognized and heartwarming aspect of the character. Bianca's relationship with Adonis is at an all-time high, showcasing their maturity and emotional depth, both positive and negative. While Bianca may have been more of a prominent character in the last two films, she still shines brightly in this one, highlighting the struggles she faces between her family, her health, and her work. Circling back to Michael B. Jordan for a second, his performance continues to improve with each film, growing stronger and more nuanced as Creed. He demonstrates a remarkable range of emotions throughout the movie, and demonstrates his adaptability as an actor by learning sign language to complement his deaf daughter, and the actor who actually plays the deaf daughter is actually deaf in real life, so I thought that was a pretty good touch. As for our antagonist, Jonathan Majors, he delivers a compelling performance. He's not just a straightforward villain like Clubber Lang. He has a complex backstory, being a flawed character who lived through Creed's eyes while he was in prison. This shapes his character, and the writers cleverly connected to his relationship with Adonis, making it arguably the strongest connection between a protagonist and antagonist in this franchise. The sheer fact that Damien's ability to get underneath Creed's skin further enhances the antagonist's character and their connection, portraying him almost as a psychological adversary as well as a formidable fighter in the ring. Another aspect of this film that is subtle yet very appreciated is the locations. While Rocky films typically take place in Philadelphia, this one sets in Los Angeles, serving as a subtle nod to passing the torch from Rocky to Creed. I feel like everyone knows Rocky from his iconic training montage where he runs to the art museum. In this film, they change it up and have Creed run up the Hollywood sign, which is another cool nod considering Creed's nickname is Hollywood. Additionally, Adonis' house is simply astonishing. Oh my god. It showcases his wealth as well as the gym he created through his hard work. Lastly, the boxing and training sequences in this film is quite interesting. The training montage was a bit flat and diluted given the numerous Rocky films that have come before. However, they still managed to capture some pretty cool moments between Creed and Damien. Creed's training is reminiscent of Rocky's in Rocky Balboa, as he's also getting older and damaged, but he pushes through these obstacles even harder to demonstrate he still has heart to go for it, which is a recurring theme in the Rocky films. As for the boxing sequences, I found them a bit short, but they were pretty unique. I appreciated the eye-level shots from over the shoulder, coupled with the quick angle shifts and slow motion takes, which gave them a lot of personality. While many people loved the final fight, I had a few reservations, but I'll discuss that in a minute. Now, while this film is well crafted and enjoyable, I had several drawbacks. My first and most significant issue is that it feels like a modern, refined version of Rocky V, featuring the training of a young and hungry unknown and a subplot involving a child fighting at school. Rocky V had high stakes, including Rocky losing his connection with his son, his fortune, and his health. In contrast, Adonis may be getting older, but his life isn't at risk, and his financial situation is far from being dire. Additionally, Rocky V evoked a range of emotions, while this film had its moments, but lacked the emotional impact of Rocky V. This makes it feel somewhat predictable and monotonous. To me, this also had shades of Warrior, if you guys seen it, the movie with Tom Hardy. So ultimately, this film didn't feel all that original while also lacking risks. To backpack onto that point, the plot unfolds in a predictable manner, so after the first act, you can almost anticipate how it will progress, especially from the main conflict between Donnie and Damien. Furthermore, the film includes numerous subplots that feel somewhat unnecessary. The death of Adonis' mother, while adding emotional depth, felt almost irrelevant to the overall story. Similarly, the subplot about Adonis' daughter, while showcasing Creed's character as a good father, lacked a clear purpose. It was done in Rocky V with greater weight, so it feels as if it was merely included to provide his daughter with something to do. On the topic of undeveloped characters, Tessa Thompson's character didn't have much to do in this film. While they touch upon her music career, it doesn't really go anywhere significant. Now, to be fair, in Rocky III and Rocky IV, Adrian's role is relatively limited as well, but she has a moment to shine, grounding Rocky and demonstrating her unwavering support. Tessa also has a similar moment in the third act, but it doesn't quite resonate as strongly as Adrian's. My next issue is with the pacing. The film moves fast, which I don't necessarily mind, but some events occur so quickly that the development behind closed doors remains unclear, where things feel rushed. It almost feels like certain scenes were cut to fit a shorter runtime, which hindered the character's growth. For instance, Damien has nobody when he moves to LA, but once he wins the belt, he throws his lavish beach party with an entourage. Maybe it's to show that people come around when you win, but I didn't really care for it all that much. It just wasn't too clear. Regarding the training and boxing sequences, they are both visually appealing in their own way. However, the training feels repetitive, making it difficult to maintain originality and being impactful. I'm eager to see how they can improve upon this in the upcoming Creed 4 film. The boxing scenes are genuinely well shot, but I personally found the anime style approach cheesy, particularly in the moments where they were simply staring at each other in the ring and just yelling at each other. It just came off very corny. Another issue is the abrupt transition from the 2 good rounds to a dreamlike sequence that lasts for about a minute or two, followed by a quick drop back to the final round. Like, how did we get here? In the Rocky films, each individual round wasn't choreographed, but the tension was palpable. In this film, by the final round, it's hard to discern who's winning and who's losing. Perhaps it was meant to emphasize that they were so evenly matched, but I didn't find it particularly compelling. To backpack onto that point, outside of the first match with Damien and Felix, there's almost no makeup used. Both fighters look practically unscathed, they walked out like they walked in, which further contributes to the sense of uncertainty in the final round. Overall, while this film doesn't necessarily do anything exceptional, it's still a solid film nonetheless. Creed 3 gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about Creed 3 in the comments below, and let me know what film you'd like to see me review next. See you guys in the next one.